Welcome to Read, Eat, Travel, Repeat, the book club and podcast with your hosts, Sarah, Kit, and Marianne, three friends who talk about all things books, food, and travel. Welcome, readers, eaters, and travelers to Read, Eat, Travel, Repeat, the book club and podcast where books take us beyond the page. I'm Sarah.
I'm Kit.
And I'm Marianne. Today we'll be talking about Till Summer Do Us Part by Meghan Quinn. Spoiler warning for anyone who hasn't read the book yet. While we will be giving initial thoughts and ideas, eventually we will be spoiling the end.
And we'll let you know when we get to that point. So feel free to listen up until then, pause, and then come back when you're done reading. And I feel like we give this little warning every single episode of like, we're adults and we're going to say adult things, but I need everyone to understand if you have not read this book yet, the whole thing is adult things.
Very adult things. So, very, very adult things.
Very adult things will be discussed in the funniest manner possible, I promise.
Right.
But also, if you're just listening, you can't see the face I just made, but it was like a suggestive, kind of face. So be prepared. That's your warning.
Yeah.
That's your warning.
Okay. So this month we're discussing a book that starts with a tiny workplace lie and somehow escalates into fake marriage counseling, an improv-loving millionaire, and an 8-day couples retreat with all of your coworkers. Sounds like a terrible nightmare. Because apparently I'm married was too simple. So if you've ever watched someone make one bad decision and then continue doubling down with the confidence of a raccoon stealing snacks in broad daylight, this book is for you. Let's dive into Meghan Quinn's absolutely bonkers romantic comedy, Till Summer Do Us Part.
Okay, so here's a synopsis. Our girl, Scottie Price, just started a new job, and it's a real sausage fest. She's the only woman on a team filled with Brads and Chads, literally. Expecting a bachelor pad atmosphere, she is quickly corrected when she finds out everyone is actually happily married.
And in an effort to impress her boss, Scottie mentions her non-existent husband in a company meeting. But eagle-eyed Chad points out her lack of wedding ring, and panicked, Scottie creates a story about her unhappy marriage. Unfortunately for Scottie, her boss has a solution. A one-on-one session with the best marriage counselor in the Northeast, who happens to be her boss's husband.
And of course, with no way out of her lie, Scottie agrees to see him. So frantic, she calls in help from her best friend, who sets her up with his brother, an improv-obsessed millionaire. Enter Wilder Wells. More than happy to take on the job, he teaches Scottie the main rule of always say yes. But of course, the rule backfires during the session when Wilder signs them up for an 8-day summer marriage camp with all of Scottie's coworkers, where she'll have to share a cabin with her way too handsome fake husband.
A cabin.
Cabin.
It's a cabin.
That is what they call it. Yep.
All right. So, first of all, I love this synopsis because you read it and you're like, that's crazy. And then you read the book and you're like, that was super accurate. Like that is 100%. So what was our initial reaction, Sarah?
This is the first Meghan Quinn book I've ever read, and I can't believe I have not read any sooner.
Right?
Absolutely hilarious. Laugh out loud. Very dirty, but
super dirty.
Like laughed out loud so many times. Her writing is so many quips and things like that. Just like little digs. So funny. Absolutely loved it. How about you, Marianne?
I don't remember the last time I laughed this much at a book. That scene at the beginning at the therapist's office. Oh my God. I was the only one awake that night, and I was sitting laughing out loud, snorting. It was hilarious. The camp part creeped me out, but we'll talk about more of that when we get to spoilers. All in all, it's a very fun read.
Yeah. I totally agree. Like, again, this is my first Meghan Quinn book too, and I immediately was like, how have I not read more of her books?
I'm like,
they're hilarious.
Right.
And I thought, like Marianne just said, we're going to get to this camp situation in a minute, but I thought she did such a good job writing how uncomfortable it was.
Yes.
Without it becoming offensive. Because it could have tipped the other side of the line. Like she rode that line so well to make it uncomfortable in a funny way and not just uncomfortable. And I want to know, I have so many questions. Like, how is this based on something that she's seen?
Yeah, right.
Experience? Like what?
I know. I was like, is this what her marriage counseling was like?
Oh my God. Can you imagine?
Also, that first fight too, I was like, I think
Where they just
fake,
kept one-upping each other.
I think fake therapy might be my new favorite trope.
Yes.
Yes.
Because the stuff they were coming up with, I was like,
I was
where, how in the world do
dying.
you like
It's just
say this again? Like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it was crazy.
Let's dive right into plot points because I think we're going to
Okay.
go there no matter
Yeah.
what. Like, because we're just going to talk about it. We have our gigantic list. For those of you listening, we make a very nice outline and then it goes all over the place.
Uh-huh.
And
I think we should
not
start with the
in
office
order.
culture because
I
that's
think we should
like
start with office culture. That's what I
that's
was going
where
to
it
say.
starts. Yeah.
Our list is not in any particular order
Yeah,
that makes sense.
yeah.
So the office culture. In the synopsis, it says it's a job that's full of boys, sausage fest. It's a golf company, but putters only.
Putter butter.
Hilarious to me. And it's run by, I'm going to blank on her name, but the lady that's in charge, Ellison.
Ellison.
Yeah.
Ellison. Everything about everyone in this book seems like so fake. Like, but in like a good, like a good way? Like everybody's putting on a performance for somebody.
Uh-huh.
Right.
And Ellison is like, I just had this vision of her like swanning into the like office
Oh my gosh.
and being like, tell me your best stuff. And then all the bros trying to like one up each other with their amazing ideas.
Yes.
And then poor Scottie's just got to try and pull everything together because she's like the copy editor. Like she's got to make it look like,
Right.
dude, your fucking ads are dumb or your graphics are dumb. I got to make this look
Mhm.
good. But the crux of the book is that everybody is super happily married and Scottie is super jealous. That like, how is everyone married? Like, how do I not?
Right,
That's
well,
the thing I don't fit in about. Like,
Well, and I think we have to touch on the fact that she's divorced.
yeah,
Like she
A
feels
very
like she can't.
messy, painful divorce.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and
Um,
so she feels uncomfortable, like
yeah,
being herself because of that. You know,
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
know, everybody else is happily married. How am I going to bring up the fact that I'm divorced?
right.
I have to share this quote now because it explains the office culture
Yeah, do it.
so very perfectly of how she feels about this office that she works with. She's basically the only girl.
Yes.
It says, yes, you read that right. Penis after chino encased penis. I tell you straight, I work surrounded by a real sausage fest, but the worst kind. It's what the youths are calling the finance bros.
Yeah. Yep.
And she's like what 29, and
Oh
she's
my
not.
god!
Yeah.
And I read that. That's like in the first chapter, and I'm like, I'm so hooked. It's like penis after chino encased penis. Like, just
But
all
it
these
gives you
boys
the
wearing their
visual.
chinos and their button downs,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Well,
oh my god.
I imagine the chinos, but then instead of like a button down, I envision they all have their like golf polos
Golf
on.
shirts.
matching
yes.
Yeah,
polos.
they're
Yep.
matching polo
Yes.
shirts, and it's
Nutter
like
putter on the side.
yeah.
Yes.
It's
Oh,
like looking
yeah.
at the Geek Squad from Best
Yes.
Buy, like they're all identical, and she's like, "The hell?"
She's
But
like, what the hell?
what I liked about the office culture, she paints this like super perfect like picture of like here's what it looks like, and they're all happily married. In my mind, I thought they were all making up their marriage things. Like everybody's
Oh.
lying.
Yeah.
Like they
yeah,
see that Ellison puts like a heavy emphasis on, like at the very beginning.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
She puts a heavy emphasis on like happy marriages. So I'm in my mind imagining that they're all kind of putting on airs
Right.
until, she drops the, oh, me and my husband, and Chad's like, but your ring. I also love that their names are actually Chad.
Yeah.
Chad, and Brad.
Yes.
And Duncan. But they like, so when they call her on it, I'm like, oh, I'm figuring they're all trying to divert attention. Like, don't look at me and what I got going on because her over there is having issues.
Right.
But then to find out that, like, no, they are actually super happily married. And the
Yeah.
reason they're happily married is because, spoiler alert, we're going to spoiler alert right out the gate.
Right away. It's hard not to.
Allison is so weirdly invested in everyone's marriages.
Yes.
Because
Creepily.
like
Yes.
creepily, but not, I don't think because she's actually invested. I think because her husband's got a whole business giving everyone happy marriages. So she's like, oh my
little
God,
like,
a happy
yeah.
marriage is great. And you know what'll get you there? My husband.
I think there's like a element of voyeurism there. You definitely,
Yeah.
Ellison
But
and
not-
Sanders.
Yeah.
They're getting off on this. They're getting off on watching. They're watching all these people come through their camp. That was one of the things that creeped me out as far as, and I know we're getting into spoilers, is like,
Mhm.
okay, your boss is not only sending you to her husband, who's a marriage counselor, but then she's going to come and watch you go through it.
Yeah.
That's
we
just
should
creepy.
we should
Yes.
pause here and explain Camp Haven.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
if we're talking about it, but I don't think just like
Well-
alluding to it does it justice. We should explain it.
Well, actually, I think, you know what? Maybe we need to back up a little bit first and talk about the therapy session before we get there. Because that was the best part of the whole book for me. That
All
was
the
my
therapy
favorite.
session were amazing.
But the very
Yeah,
first
the
one,
first
when
one
they,
where you're
when
like,
they both
"Where
go
is
in,
this
they go
coming
in
from?"
blind and talk
Yeah.
about, oh my
Oh
God, hilarious.
So, in order to get out of her lie or attempt to get out of her lie, Scotty's like, "Oh, I do have a husband, but like we're going through hard times and that's not I'm
Yeah.
not wearing my ring and it's just really rough for me, but like we'll get there." Like she's really trying to like talk her way all the way around it while digging herself a deeper ditch.
Mhm.
Right.
So Allison is like, "I know what'll help you. Go to my husband for therapy. He's free tomorrow morning at 9 a.m."
I know, right?
And she does not have a husband or a boyfriend or anything.
No.
So she calls her best friend Micah. And Micah's like, "I got you. Take my brother, who is a millionaire
Yes.
and bored because he retired at what, like 27? Like
Something
he was
like
like,
that.
we're done here. So he's and the reference in the synopsis, the improv obsessed millionaire is like,
Yes.
this sounds like the greatest thing I've ever heard. I do, in fact, want to go do fake marriage counseling with someone I've never met.
Serious.
So
It's actually, I'm like, this could be a great improv game for my theater
yes.
kids. I mean, just staying away from obviously we're not
Yeah,
going to talk about
yeah.
your sex life, but like things in a relationship, like you have to improv and play off each other what
And you
what
could even do,
annoys you
like-
about the other person or something.
Yeah,
like
like you could do it as like family therapy.
Oh,
Like you're
Oh,
at therapy with your siblings.
yes.
Like
I think this might be my new theater game.
it
Therapy.
is so funny. So they get there. Does someone else want to jump in with the description of this
Oh.
therapy session?
Well, first of all, Sanders, the therapist, is a Looney Tunes. He's wearing mismatched clothes.
gosh.
Doesn't he have like a beard like Santa Claus?
He's
and
obsessed with like sports too.
sports.
Everything. He's
like
like
there's boxes and boxes all
Yeah.
over. He's constantly playing with like sports related props while they're talking. And so now they've got to try and talk about their marriage, but you know, they don't know each other. They don't have any backstory and they're playing
Right,
off each
right.
other. And it just goes way off the rails, to what was the ER visit they ended up with because he got his penis.
Oh, the cereal zipper. If we want to jump to quotes, I put that one right in there. So if you've ever done improv, you just straight up yes and everything. Whatever the other person says, you go yes and. And clearly Wilder, who's Micah's brother, is having the best day of his life. He's like, this is everything I never knew I needed. And he, mid-therapy session, starts talking about a camping trip they took where she tries to zip the zipper up. And she zips his dick into it. And her response, because you can't say, no, that didn't happen. That's not how improv works. And for better or
Right.
worse,
You have to go
Scottie
with
is
it.
invested.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't say no because then he'll know you're lying. So she
Mhm.
has to go with it. She just goes, I didn't know his penis was there. To which Wilder responds, she's always underestimating the size of my dick.
Size of my
Then they argue about this for a few more minutes. And Wilder drops, probably my favorite line was, anyways, that's the night she became the serial zipper.
Yeah.
Why are you doing that? I would love to see this book turned into a movie or a TV show.
I don't know,
Literally
yeah.
anything. You could
Yeah.
put it on HBO.
You
They've done
could. It would
worse.
be so funny. Yeah.
But just the banter,
Oh
at
yeah.
specifically the therapy sessions.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's so funny.
Yes.
I know.
That-
I'd love to interview Meghan and be like, how did you come up with that? Like, I feel like that's almost
Yeah.
sit around with your girlfriends, having a glass of wine, being like, what kind
Yes.
of things could we put into therapy? And then she puts it
then
all
there's,
together.
like-
Just the craziest things that people
Yeah.
would need marriage
Would
counseling
argue
for.
about. And
Zipping
like
a
that
penis
are,
up.
as a therapist, I'm sure the therapist is going, these are all indicative of bigger issues. Like he's trying to put
Yes.
together, like,
Yeah.
okay, you're
Yeah.
arguing about the fact that one time you accidentally zipped him into the sleeping bag.
Yes.
But what is the heart of the matter?
Right.
But there is
Yeah.
no heart of the matter because it's all made up.
Yes.
But I do like then, getting a little more serious, that it ends up not being so fake. that the underlying issues are what is really not when their relationship with each other,
with
but like
themselves.
her relationship with her ex, his relationship with his brother, which sounds weird when you're talking about sex therapy, but
Yeah.
also it's not really about it. It's more about like control or lack of control and all these other like big picture things that people don't like in therapy and all that. So
Yeah. And which I guess kind of jumps to, I'm trying to look down our list. Scottie's ex.
yeah.
That kind of ties into that, is that Wilder is a total yes man. Like he's down to do anything
Right.
Mhm.
for the plot. Like I feel like
Yes.
he's
Yeah.
just living for the plot, living on
Yeah.
vibes.
Yes.
But when he realizes that the issues that, and I think this is after they're at the camp, it's like the first therapy session after they get to camp.
Yeah.
He realizes that the things that she was accusing him of as like the fake husband
Mhm.
were things that her real husband very much did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that she has not, he might be there just for like funsies to see what happens. But Scottie actually does kind of need, maybe not
Yes.
this camp therapy, but she definitely needs some sort of help to work through how
Yes.
her relationship fell apart.
Yes. Yes. Oh
Well,
yeah, for
I
sure.
felt the Matt questions though for Wilder. At first I was like, why does he keep asking all
Yeah, I
this
didn't
stuff?
love
But
it.
then you get to at the end,
Yeah.
he's asking because he wants to give her an experience that Matt never gave her.
Right.
So it's like,
I had
what did
very
Matt
mixed
what did Matt do
feelings.
after sex?
Yeah.
Nothing. Get up and go play games. And she's like, okay. So then he's like, we won't do that, you know?
Yeah. I had very mixed feelings about the questions.
Yeah.
And that they
I got it
were,
at the end, but I was like in the
I
middle.
got it, but I didn't love that he was like constantly bringing Matt back up.
Right. Right.
Like I
because,
wished it would have been more like, what do you wish you had? As opposed
Right.
to being like, what
Yes.
did Matt do?
Yeah, being
Or
like,
not
what
do.
do you like to do?
because then
after we
that
have
gets like a
sex?
competition
As opposed to what did
rather
Matt
than
do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just that is
Yeah,
probably
that's
the
true.
only part of the book that I
A little bit of
really
ick.
didn't love.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I wouldn't like if I would hate it if someone was constantly bringing up like an ex-boyfriend that I really didn't like. It'd be different if like we ended
Mhm.
amicably, but like here's some things I wish we did different.
Yeah.
But like he was not good. Like let's not ever discuss that guy again.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
And
was
especially I think they brought it up in like he brought it up like after sex and stuff too, didn't he? Like it was like, like that's not the time to be bringing up your ex. The time to do is
Yeah.
maybe like
Last person you
sitting
wanna think
around a
about.
campfire with a beer
Right.
or something, but not,
Yeah.
Or
when
like-
you're in
like
a
you're
vulnerable
out-
position. So
Yeah, you're out having dinner and you're discussing, well, what was your relationship like? Like that
Right.
makes more sense than
And if
like,
especially if it was like a back and forth where like you were
Yeah.
like you're like, oh, and how about like your
yeah,
most
how about
serious
you? Your past
ex-girlfriend?
relationships,
Yeah.
what has happened? Yeah.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't
true.
that was the only part I didn't
The way, I mean, the
love.
questions made sense, but they could have been worded differently.
Yeah.
or time
more like,
differently.
what do you prefer?
Yeah.
What do you
Yes.
prefer? What do you like? Not what did Matt do? You know?
Yeah.
Because part of it, her relationship, and maybe if he asked a few questions about Matt at first and then realized that part of their problems was that Matt didn't give a shit about what she wanted.
Right.
And then you start asking, okay, what do you want? And then
What
it
do you
makes more
want?
sense to be like,
Yeah. But anyways,
I was
that
just
was the only
thinking
part of their little fake marriage that I didn't
yeah,
love.
I was
Yeah.
just thinking when you're talking about that is that like she had this idea of the Chads and Brads as, she kind of stereotyped them all as like,
Yeah.
sports bros, finance bros,
Mhm.
whatever. And I'm wondering if she's like projecting her experience with Matt onto them too, just
Yeah.
making these
Probably.
assumptions that because they seemed like sports bros that they were
Mhm.
totally, players and they didn't care about their wives or, their girlfriends or
Mhm.
wives, whatever.
All right.
Okay.
So
I'm
About that
looking at
camp.
I'm looking at the fake marriage thing, and it's
Yeah.
about having for immigration. One of my favorite movies is The Proposal
yes.
with Sandra
Great
Bullock.
movie.
Oh,
Have you
okay,
seen
yeah.
that one, Marianne? Yeah,
I have. It's been a while. Well,
with Ryan
I-
with
Reynolds.
Ryan
and
Reynolds
yeah.
and Sarah Bullock. Yes, I've seen it.
And
She
more
wasn't
importantly, Betty White.
Betty
Betty
White
White
was in.
the
Yes.
grandma. Oh God, but
Yes.
he's
Yeah.
like, she's a Canadian immigrant, and they have
Yeah.
to like fake this marriage, and then
Yes.
even
It's
like
so
the
funny.
immigration officer asking them questions.
Yeah.
What side of the bed do you sleep on? He's like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Like, we're still kind of date, like after at
Yeah,
the end,
right.
like after it's all sorted, and they're like, I just want to date you, but they have to be like engaged
Yeah.
to keep her to stay, and so they're still date. It's just the stuff that are asked. That movie is so funny. So I'm like,
Yes.
I guess I do love a good fake marriage, but
I do. Yeah.
the therapy
That's so
also.
good.
Actually, Christina Lauren have a book called Roomies, and it's about a musician from Ireland who has to fake marriage so he can get a job on Broadway.
Hmm.
And so
I love that.
I really like that one. They were
Yeah.
supposed to be making that one into a movie, but they were going to change the country he was from for some reason, which I love the fact that he was Irish, but they were going to
I
change that.
know.
Mm.
Yeah.
But yes, same idea. There was a fake, but it was for immigration still. So
Yeah.
I mean, does anybody fake marriage for any other reason? That was a part that I was like,
Apparently, when you lie to your boss,
Money.
I
Money, I
guess.
guess.
money,
I mean,
Yeah.
I can see
Maybe,
people, the money. But
insurance. You need some health insurance,
yeah.
maybe.
So do we want to hold off on the camp, or we start talking about the camp?
I think it's
Let's
time
go
to
for
talk
camp.
about
I
the
think
camp.
it's time.
Okay.
It's time for this camp. So at the end of the first therapy session, Sanders, who at this point we still believe is like an actual real therapist that has like great intentions, is like, I know what would help you guys. It's a wilderness retreat couples camp. And Wilder's like, yes. And Scottie is like, absolutely the fuck not. But it's
Well,
too late because Wilder just pays for it.
Which is
Like, it's
also-
nothing.
Yes.
Isn't it like 12 grand or 15
Yes.
I think it
grand?
was like,
Yes.
yes.
I mean, granted, we know he's a millionaire, but still,
Right.
it's like,
He
I'm going to
just,
pay
like-
15 grand just to work on my improv.
For the fun of
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
And then she goes to work the next day. Ellison is like, oh my God, I love this for everyone. Like, this camp is so helpful. It's life changing. Everyone will be there.
I know. That was the part that gave me the ick. I mean, it's
I was
like, oh my God. Going through all of this and having all of my coworkers there? No,
Oh.
thank you. I would
Right,
have been
like,
like,
yeah, she's
hell
like-
no.
Sanders is like, oh, Ellison will give you the time off. She always gives people time off for this. Of course, because her
'Cause
husband
she's-
is making 15
Bank.
grand a couple from it.
And she's going to be there watching
She's
it all.
going to be there. So,
Yes. It is, and this camp is so creepy because it's a couples camp and you're supposed to be like working through any issues that you have, but also like building the romance and
Hold on.
Yeah.
one sec.
bringing the spark back.
to how it started out as like what you would assume is a normal couples camp.
Yeah,
Right.
they're
And
painting golf
they're-
balls.
They're making
Yeah.
bracelets and painting golf balls and then ending with like sit on each other's lap and make out for 5
Well,
seconds. Like,
yes.
What?
Which, like, it took some of the relationship. Like, I've seen videos or whatever where they're like, to really build your connection, you sit across from each other and stare into each other's eyes.
Stare into each other's eyes
Right.
while you
That-
say that.
That
Right.
intimacy thing, like, don't look
Mhm.
away. It's like it took that kind of theory
Yeah.
or idea and just
Yeah,
cranked it up to a million.
Yes.
Like, you're
Yeah.
gonna be really honest with each other, but instead of sitting across from each other, you're gonna straddle his lap.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which for some of these couples, they are actually very happily married, but these guys don't know each other. But they're kind
Yes.
of like super attracted to each other, which makes
Yeah.
it a million times more awkward.
Well, haven't they already slept with each other by that point too?
By
it's
that-
like,
By that
We've
point,
By
already-
that
yeah.
point, they
by
have.
the time they do
Yeah.
that, we're like, we've already been intimate, but now we're kind of fighting and
It's
kind
like
of
a different intimacy.
yeah.
But what was the weirdest to me was that everybody seemed to know the score except for Wilder and Scottie. So like
Yes.
the Brads and Chads keep like, oh, you got the good cabin, and they're like, this cabin is
Crazy.
horrific.
And
Yeah.
finding
If you-
out they
if-
weren't all the cabins weren't like that.
Yeah.
'Cause They
Right.
thought this is like every cabin is like that. And then
Right.
I
they're like,
still
So-
want to know why the other ones were jealous of the tent. I mean, what was?
dude, go camp in your backyard if you need to be.
Remember, they were like, "Oh,
alone.
you got
Yeah.
the,
Oh,
you got the tent. We never get the tent." I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
the tent was like you got
The tent
stranded
is-
out.
Yeah, and
Having
the tent
sex
is
in the
the
middle of the
only
woods.
thing you can really replicate on your own.
I know.
Yeah.
So let's backtrack and like explain the camp. Camp Haven is in the Catskills, so it's kind of like an upstate New Yorky kind of camp. The Adirondack chairs, the whole shebang.
Right.
Everyone has a cabin. Every cabin has a theme. We think they're all horrific because when Wilder and Scottie walk into their cabin, it is like a red room. Red room? Is that what they call it? They call it
Yeah,
red room,
I
right?
think so. Yes.
Like 50 Shades of Grey style.
Yeah.
It is all sex stuff everywhere. And it's artful pornography on the wall.
Pictures
Yes.
of nipples.
I'm gonna say
a close up of a nipple.
Close up
and,
of a
a scro-
nipple
and a scrotum.
and a scrotum.
It's gross. So gross.
And
I
they
don't
are,
think- I don't know how you can make that artful.
Oh, I know. I'm like, how is that?
put it in black and white. I don't know.
I don't know.
A vignette around the
Shadowing
edge.
around it, you know.
also have a sneaking suspicion that that is Allison's boob.
Yes.
Sanders
She's like,
scrotum, remember?
am I looking at my boss's
So
boob
that-
right now?
Right. Like, did you decorate with your own art? Which is so weird all
I
on its
would
own.
actually, and I think, more you read about Ellison and Sander, I think absolutely. I think they,
100%.
oh, absolutely. Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
And the dresser is full of every toy you would ever want or need.
Yeah.
But also,
And
there's
$5
no
condoms.
dude. Yeah, let's get to
Oh
that
my
in a second.
gosh. I know.
There's no sense of like, is it sanitary? Like,
Yes.
That was my thought with the dildo in the shower. I was like, do they
Yeah,
take
like,
that down
who walks that?
and clean it?
Who? Yes. And
Yes.
yeah, gross. So it's basically like a sex cabin,
Yeah.
but they weren't told that that was happening. And then I forget which one of the Brads or Chads there is like, oh, that cabin always goes to the couple that has the most to work on, which is so weird. Which is, I think,
Yes.
the way that Meghan Quinn kind of walks that line of like, that's illegal. It feels like that should be
Yes.
illegal.
Yeah.
That your boss is assigning you to a sex cabin. But the way it's written is so funny. Like, it's just like it takes that, like,
Oh
it's
my
ick
gosh.
without being like, oh, I can't read that.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
that's,
Well, and that's
Well,
the thing.
I pulled a quote from that too that I
Okay.
have to share. I follow her line of sight straight to the steam shower where a large dildo is stuck to the wall. Dear God, I whisper, whatever you do, don't drop the soap, Scottie. For the love of God, don't drop the soap.
yes. Yes.
Just the way Megan writes it. It's like, whatever you don't, for the love of
Yes.
God, don't drop the soap.
Yeah. Like, everything about the cabin is horrific. And I think it only works because both Scottie and Wilder also find it horrific.
Yes.
Right.
yes.
Right.
And then,
Oh, I think Wilder is way into it, but if he knows Scottie doesn't like it.
well, I think he's into it in like oh, we could have fun here kind of a
Yeah.
way,
Yes.
but not into it in the we didn't ask for this.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is
What the
kind of
hell
like
did
it
I
is-
get myself into? Kind of.
And it's coming from your boss and your coworkers.
your
I think he's
coworkers,
into
yeah.
it in like the generic sense of like
Yes.
this could be a fun time,
Yes.
but not into it in the especially when he like sees that they took his condoms away. And you can have
Yeah.
condoms in this building that is very distinctly designed to get you to have sex,
Yeah.
Yes.
but you have to pay $5 for them.
Right.
Like, I think that kind of the manipulation of it, I think rubs Wilder the
Yeah.
wrong.
I'm almost glad
Or
we
the
don't
right
find
way,
that
'cause
out
that
little
should, like-
until later. I'm glad we
Yeah.
don't find out like that because I think it would have icked me even sooner.
Yeah.
The whole basket in there. But I was thinking like, if it me, I'd be like, when you find out that everyone wants this cabin and that your coworkers have been in here and may have
Oh,
used some
yes.
of these products, I would be like,
I feel like this is too much, and I've worked in some places where like I've known way too much about people that I
Yeah.
work
Oh,
with.
yeah.
But like this is even like a step too far. For,
Yeah,
like-
yeah, definitely. And that's the thing that gave me the ick more than anything else is just like this whole idea of not only your boss, her husband, but now all your coworkers
Right,
knowing
right.
exactly, what you could or may or may not be up to.
Yeah.
And you know what they've been up to. And it's like sometimes,
Yeah.
less
Yeah.
is more.
Mm-hmm.
But
then-
it's still
Go ahead.
funny.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, again,
Yeah, it's
the-
still funny. Would I want
I
to do
feel
it?
like
No.
if
no.
anyone else wrote it, it wouldn't work as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
Like
Right.
she nailed it perfectly.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the camp is like a weird combination of like Survivor and like
Yes.
therapy. Like there's all these challenges that are designed to get to get you to work through like maybe communication issues
Yes.
or build your teamwork. And they're
And-
obviously faking all of it. Like they want to win everything, but
Yeah.
also there's like we got to bicker because we need to show that we're having a hard time. Like
Right,
everything
right.
is a manipulation.
Yes.
So much of the therapy stuff made sense.
Yes.
I mean, like the serious therapy stuff
Yes.
Yes.
made so much sense. I was like, oh my gosh, it's actually really good. That's really smart.
Yeah.
So because I would love to like sit down with Megan and be like, how did
Yes.
you come up with it? Like, is this partially, maybe not experience on the crazy camp, but like therapy
Right.
experience? Like, did you
Yes.
know all this stuff ahead of time? Did you have to research marriage,
like
and then
marriage
just make it
counseling.
as crazy as you possibly
Yeah.
could. Like, well, what if we painted rocks, but then threw this into it?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Like what kind of stuff
Okay.
is done at a marriage camp, and
Yes.
then how can I
Yeah.
crank it up to 11?
Because
Yes,
those
yes.
camps 100% exist. There's a
Oh,
lot
for
of
sure.
religious camps where you're
Yeah.
like, you know, but
Oh, for
and
sure.
I'm sure they do that kind of stuff, but there's probably not condoms waiting for them back in their
Right.
cabin.
Or making them like, we're playing musical chairs, kind of, but you have to sit
I
on top of
know. You have
your
to sit on top
partner.
of
Like,
them, and
so weird. But then the
yes.
therapy sessions, to your point, were like, seemed like they were trying to be
Yeah.
very serious, and Sanders
Yeah.
was, in fact, trying to help them work through their issues.
Yep. Yep.
Which is where we see Wilder starting to realize that Scottie actually does have some like serious issues
Mhm.
to work through.
And she realizes that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She realizes she has serious issues. And then
Yeah.
And he does too.
Wilder
He has some-
realizes he has issues
has-
too with
yes.
his brother and with his mom and
But
that
then
whole
But then again, Sanders is spinning a basketball on his finger while you're trying to talk, which
Yes.
was like would be so distracting for me. But
Right.
again, I guess the distraction is good because
Doesn't he explain that toward the end? 'Cause
yes, I think
Wilder
so.
asks him why all the sports equipment,
Yeah.
and it has something to do with that. People
Yes.
are more willing to talk
Right.
if their hands are busy, or if I
Yeah.
can.
And it also takes the focus off if you're someone
Yeah.
that's hesitant to talk. He says something about, oh, well,
Yeah.
if we're tossing a basketball back and forth, it makes you feel less formal and
Yeah.
more like
Yeah.
a casual conversation. And then you're more willing to kind of open up because it
Yeah.
doesn't feel as
Yeah, it doesn't
like,
feel like you're.
yeah, which is why, I mean, I go to therapy all the time, but the way they set up their room is always kind of designed to get you to feel at ease. And
Yep.
so I think he does it very intentionally to like get people to think that maybe he's a little bit scatterbrained, maybe this isn't super, super serious, but then he
Yeah.
digs in seriously, which I was so annoyed about Sanders when you find out this dude
Yes.
is not even a certified therapist.
I
Yes.
know. I was like, really?
Yeah,
Should have
'cause, like-
known. Should have known. We should have
Right.
seen that coming, but also.
But you feel like he's just like a weirdo who like does
Yeah.
therapy and like does these camps. But I feel like it turns out he's more of like a theater kid like Wilder
Mhm.
who just like likes the performance. Because every night at dinner at the camp, him and Ellison are putting on a different little production.
Yep.
Yes.
And like,
And I think he just realized he was good at it. Like, he seems to be good at, without the degree, he's good at getting people to talk to him
yes.
and giving advice. And so maybe it's something he discovered when he was younger and is like, well, hey,
Yeah.
A-
I can
And the
help
fact
people,
that
and
I kind of laughed. There was that line about reading the fine print.
Yeah.
That it's there. He's
It's
not
there, nobody
lying.
reads
He's
it.
not lying to you, but that's why you got to
Mhm.
read the fine print. And
And
Yep.
I think sometimes though too people. I mean, we rely so much on certifications and education, and sometimes life experience can be very, very worthwhile. You don't necessarily need all those diplomas and certificates. Sometimes I feel like it should have been more openly disclosed, but
Yeah.
but at the same time, if he's getting results, then maybe that's not
Right.
necessarily a worse thing that could be that he's not actually a
100%.
therapist.
And sometimes the people with the degrees, they don't know anything anyway. Like,
Yes.
it's kind
right.
of,
Well, because they rely too heavily on the degree.
On the
They're like,
degree,
well, I went
yes.
to school with this.
Yes.
As
Yeah.
opposed to being like, well, he's clearly been doing this for like a super long time. And whatever
Yeah.
he's doing seemingly works. As
Yeah.
creepy as some of it seems to be working.
Yes.
But he
But-
also fully admits that some of it is just a money grab.
yeah.
Mhm.
That I forget the exact line, but he's like,
Oh,
that's
that's like-
capitalism.
Yes, exactly.
And
Exactly.
you're like, so
Yeah.
I appreciated that, even though we didn't know he wasn't certified from the get-go, it doesn't seem like
Mhm.
he was ever hiding it. So
Right,
like,
yeah.
they seem to just be kind of on
Like,
the up
you
and
never
up
asked, so.
in the weirdest way possible.
So that kind of made me think of like my question here about safe sex and are authors obligated to address it? And, we know that Wilder is a millionaire and there's no
Yes.
talk about safe sex in here.
Mhm.
And there's actually no discussion of birth control before they have sex. He
Right.
saw her taking a pill at night and
I
just
know.
assumed that she was on birth control. And
I thought after reading it I was like, oh my gosh, is this the first one where it wasn't addressed ahead of time? Because we've had this
And-
conversation lately
yeah.
about it.
And-
then,
I feel like that could have been a perfect. I just feel like with the demographic that Meghan Quinn mostly appeals to,
Mhm.
that should be some sort of discussion there. And I think with Wilder being a millionaire, he could go, "Oh, well, they took my condoms. I can afford a $5 condom. Let's go for it." I just felt like there could
Yeah.
have been more of a discussion, not necessarily no kit you get tired of the whole tested, I'm tested, you're
Well,
tested.
because that seems like sometimes
Yeah.
it feels like there's like it doesn't
Like I
fit
Yeah.
the
said
conversation.
last
It's like,
time,
by the
yeah,
way.
I feel like it's been thrown in so much
Yeah.
since the '80s that it's like, "Oh,
Yes.
yeah, of course they gotta put that in there."
Yeah.
Even though
But
nobody ever actually gets tested ahead of time, they
right.
just say they're tested, like
Right.
But I feel like they could have, promoted a little bit of safe sex there with him just saying, "I don't care, $5 is well worth it. I'll pay
or even
500,000."
for him to
Yeah.
say, "You're on the pill, right? Do you wanna" 'cause
Yeah.
Yeah.
sometimes you wanna use condoms even when you're on the pill, 'cause that
Yeah.
Yes.
is way more
Dou
effective than
So
yeah.
one.
I do
Double it
feel
up.
like I
Double
don't
up.
feel like authors are not doctors and they're not
Right,
it's not their
right.
job to give medical advice, but I feel like when you're appealing to a younger demographic, I'm talking as an old lady here with, but no, seriously though, I feel like there should be at least some I feel like you should address it to a certain extent because, you know, people learn from books
Yeah.
whether it's,
Mhm.
you know, so that's just my point of view there. So,
I have kind of the opposite point of view. I think there's no obligation for an author to toss it in at all. I think their only obligation is does it make sense for the characters at hand? Um and these two I think are super messy and they definitely would not have discussed it. Like
mm,
she is and whether or not that's a good decision in terms of like do I want that to be the message that I give to an audience necessarily, is not maybe the point in my mind, but does it make sense for Wilder and Scottie to have a whole conversation?
right.
I don't think it would have made sense. I feel like it would have seemed out of place for him to be like, "Oh, hey, by the way," because he's super impulsive. He's definitely a yes man
Mhm.
of like, "Oh, we're doing this thing right now." He
Yeah.
thinks he is in his mind, he's confident she's on the pill, so they're being safe.
Mhm.
She probably wouldn't have asked for a condom because I mean, and maybe it's a little bit him
Yes.
taking advantage of her
Yeah.
in terms
That's
of
a
like, but she also might be thinking, I'm on the pill, I'm safe.
Right, right.
Like, so I don't know that if they had thrown it into this particular book, if it would have made sense in my head as I was reading it, I would have been like, that seems out of character for
Mhm.
them to have this conversation because everything else about their relationship is made up. Like they're kind
Yeah.
of living in this very weird,
but he's also
like,
kind of caretaking her, and I feel like he should have made sure that she was, I don't know. I feel like he was kind of a caretaker to her in a lot of ways. He was very much trying to make her feel safe and comfortable, and um, I feel like he should have probably done that too because he's had hookups, and I'm
Mhm.
assuming with he's
yeah,
had a lot of hookups. I'm thinking he probably has to
Yeah.
has to deal with that, and so I feel like he kind of should have done that for her. This is how it works when you're not married. You should use the
Mhm.
condom because
Mhm.
that's the way to protect yourself and each other.
yeah.
So,
I just
and
don't know that, like,
he has money to burn, so that $5
he does.
condom
He
does
could
Yeah.
have, yeah, he definitely could have bought a $5 condom.
yes.
They both just seem like the kind of people that, I mean, obviously she just impulsively told everyone that she was married. I feel like
Mhm.
Yeah.
they're the kind of people that act impulsively without necessarily having the forethought to be like, we should get a condom right now when I'm on the pill.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
good. They seem like the sort of people that would just go for it.
Mhm.
She's not. I don't think she is at all. I think she's very
I think
cautious, and
she's
that's why
happy
she
to have
stayed
any kind
married.
of connection.
Yeah. Because she wouldn't have stayed in that marriage if she was, if she was more assertive. She wouldn't have
Yeah.
stayed in that
Well,
marriage as long as she did.
impulsivity and assertiveness are different things. Like, I think she's hurting so much. This is a human connection for her.
Yeah.
And I think she just went for it. So I don't know that the author has the obligation necessarily to be like, time out. And now for a PSA.
Yeah.
Here's how we have safe sex.
I think in this instance, she could have easily woven it in there without it seeming like a
Without
PSA.
it seeming like
Yeah,
a
Like,
she
yeah.
could
yeah.
have. I just don't know that it's something that
Yeah.
is an
Also,
author's obligation or that we should expect an author to have. I think those are
but
conversations adults have to have with kids. If a kid is reading a book about a 27-year-old and
Yeah.
like
I'm not
doesn't
talking
have
about
like
kids. I'm talking about even like 20 and 30-year-olds who are single or, hooking up.
Then they should definitely know about safe sex
Oh,
without
they
the book
should,
telling
for
them.
sure.
I hope
Like,
so.
that
But
point, you should not be relying on a book to remind you about safe sex.
Yeah.
At that point, you should know.
But I also have a question. Could Wilder actually use a condom? Or would his piercings destroy its integrity?
So that's a great question.
yeah,
It might.
that's-
Let's look it up. Let's Google it.
I was afraid to.
Wilder has some piercings. I don't think he has a Prince Albert. He's got something else.
no, the cross, something
he's got.
cross.
I forget what it's called though.
I do too, but it's literally like 4 nubs at the end. You're right.
Yeah.
It might tear. So maybe he's just always, I don't know, tested because
I kept thinking about
I
that.
do
when
think
was
it's a
reading.
big leap for Scottie to go to from I've slept with one person, which is Matt, to then being okay with unprotected crazy sex with Wilder when he has piercings.
Yes.
So
Like I'm
maybe
just
that's
like
what she's
ooh.
been. But I think
But also on
I
the other
think-
hand, maybe that's what she's been.
I think that's a fantasy for her though. I think it's
Yeah.
because she is immediately a complete mess
Yeah.
when he starts biting on his lip piercing.
Yes. And
Like,
she doesn't. She
she-
says, "I didn't know I liked it until I did." Like,
Right.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't think that I think the piercing is more of a draw for her than a deterrent. Because she folded like a cheap lawn chair the minute
She
Wilder was
realized.
like playing with that lip ring.
She didn't realize it was a thing until it
Yeah.
was. and
Until
she's
it was a thing.
Wait. Yeah.
So I don't, and then he assures
Yeah,
her like, no,
that's
it feels
true.
good. You're good. So yes, you can with a piercing. However, you have to use a lot of extra care to prevent it from tearing the latex.
Okay.
So it actually, maybe to your point, maybe we can use one, but if it tears, then we're SOL anyways.
Right.
So let's not
And-
even give the false sense of
Yeah.
security
He's-
with it.
he also talks about how very large he is. So you
Yeah.
you got to get an XXXL condom that is tear-proof from piercings.
And who knows if Sanders has prepared the cabin for that situation.
I know. I do think in general, because we had this conversation last month or with our
it was sometime
recent reads
recently.
about the whole sexual responsibility that authors do.
Yeah.
They have
Yeah.
do they have a responsibility, or what does it say if they?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
'Cause
don't- I don't
because
think
we know
they-
so much more. We're so
Yeah.
much we're so past the bodice ripping romance novels Harlequin from the
Yeah.
80s where nobody used protection. It was just
Right.
whatever, and nobody ever got an STD and nobody ever got pregnant.
Right.
And
Yeah.
to now it's like everyone knows there's very real consequences.
Yeah.
And I kind of find it interesting actually. Like
Yeah.
what
What
do they think about it when they write? Do they make
I
conscious choices
I
about
feel
it? Or
like
is it
they
just
do. Because she made a
maybe,
very
yeah.
specific point to point out that she was on the pill and I knew it ahead of time.
yeah.
Like that
The
is a
afterward,
very
yeah.
clear justification of decisions made.
Yeah.
That didn't
Yeah.
necessarily have to be included.
I do wish maybe he had said it beforehand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he didn't say it till way later, and I was like,
Right.
"Oh, okay."
Okay. So
yeah,
you
I
did
feel
think
like
about it.
I feel like if you're going to be adults, if you're doing adult things, I think you should have adult conversations too. And yes, I agree that Wilder is impulsive, but I feel like it still should have. I feel like it still should have been something in there ahead of time. Not like because he didn't say that until they were in a therapy session with Sanders,
Yeah.
way after. So,
Yeah.
but anyhow, that's just a small.
We'll agree
I
to
mean, that's-
disagree on that one. Because
Okay.
I don't think
It's
it's
funny.
necessary.
I'm
And-
like, as usual, I'm in the middle.
Right. I
Yeah.
was just,
Like,
I'm
I'm
just saying
kinda-
the same thing.
I get
I
it,
think
but I
that's
also
how-
I can go either way depending
That's
on
how
the,
I feel like that's how every debate lands. Marianne's on one side, I'm on the other side, and Sarah's
I'm
like,
like, does it really matter?
she's Switzerland.
I'm
Sarah
Switzerland.
is Switzerland.
Hey, I
Okay.
can't even decide
Wasn't-
on my favorite book. Of course, I
wasn't
can't decide.
Bella-
Right.
Wasn't
Bella is
Bella
Switzerland.
Switzerland? So
Yes, Bella's Switzerland.
Yes.
I am
well,
Bella.
okay. So let's talk about another one. That did Wilder's mom cheat if her husband was a quadriplegic and she was a
yes.
full-time full-time caretaker and she was having a little thing on the side? Is that cheating?
So
I-
let's set the scene a little bit first, for in case
Okay.
someone hasn't read the book. We talked about a little bit that we know, or we find that Scottie has a metric ton of baggage to work through in therapy.
Right.
And I think Sarah, you mentioned Wilder has issues to work through too. One of the major issues that Wilder is working through is that his dad, who he was very close to, was in an accident, became a quadriplegic, and eventually died. His mom
Mhm.
was the caretaker. And following that, Micah really, really struggled. Micah's his brother and was suicidal.
Mhm.
It's not specifically talked about, but it's definitely heavily alluded to that
Yeah.
whether he was seriously intending on committing suicide or just kind of having suicidal
Mhm.
Right.
thoughts and
Mhm.
ideations, Wilder believed that he was definitely about to kill himself and kind of fled to the city to like take care of him and then got stuck there. So he's a
Yeah.
millionaire, but he's terrified to move on because he hasn't dealt with his father's death,
Right.
Yeah.
kind of the fallout with his mother, and how Micah was handling all of
Mhm.
that. And like you were just saying, Marianne, the way Wilder's mother handled some of it, she was like the full-time caregiver and I believe working too. So like Home
Yes.
Slice
Mhm.
was strapped. She had an affair with the father's best friend. And the reason they know that is because Micah caught them kissing.
Right.
Yeah.
So then your question was, is this cheating? As like a moral ethical question. Who
I don't
wants to
think
go first?
I don't
Okay, I wanna say too, though, with Wilder's dad, wasn't he, in addition to being quadriplegic, didn't he also lose his voice?
Yeah.
He literally was vegetative. He couldn't
Yeah.
have the discussion with her. So it's not even like she has anyone to even talk to.
Right.
Like, she can't talk to him even if she can't be intimate. So,
I personally don't think she was, but you're probably surprised by that. But I feel like she was entitled to some companionship. I mean, her
Mhm.
sons are often grown. She's working full time now.
yeah.
And for all we know, she told her husband about it,
Mhm.
right? But
Yeah.
because Micah caught her, he I just felt like that was overblown.
Yeah.
That I would hope that neither one of my children would ever want to commit suicide if they caught one of us having an affair. You know, they could be mad at me or my husband or whatever, but I don't
Yeah.
think that I feel like that
I
was a little overblown.
I
We're
feel
gonna go so
I feel
opposites
like
on this again in like a way that people
That's so
probably wouldn't
funny.
predict.
I feel it's an affair, but totally understandable.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
I
what I
feel
feel. Yeah,
like if it I mean, I think you can't call it not an affair, but
Yeah.
I feel like if it was me and my husband did that, I get it. I probably would want him to go and be happy.
Yes.
yeah. I
So
mean,
I oh god.
well, there's a book I read a few years ago, my author I really like, and it was about a woman whose husband died just like 6 months into their marriage, and she ends up hooking up with an old friend of hers and accidentally getting pregnant and all that sort of
Mhm.
stuff. And her in-laws are so mad at her because that she hooked up with this guy. They won't speak to her. They think, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, you know, his
Mhm.
parents had each other to comfort each other after their son died. Her sister, his sister rather, had her husband and children to comfort them after their
Right,
brother died.
right,
She was all alone in this house that he had built. She had moved out of the city to live with him out in the country. So she was away from all of her friends and all of her family. She had a moment of weakness and she hooked up with this guy, got pregnant, and they're like thinking that she's the most awful person in the world, but
Mhm.
they've had somebody to comfort them all this time where she's been sitting by herself in a big old house that doesn't belong to her, that's memories of her husband everywhere. And I felt like she was totally entitled and it kind of made me mad. I felt like that was it was blowing the situation out of proportion, and I feel the same way here. I feel like his mom had the right to have some companionship, you
Yeah,
know, and that,
yeah.
you know, it's I don't really feel like it's cheating. It's cheating, but I feel like it's justified cheating maybe. So, anyhow, Kit, what's your take? Let's hear.
So I think it's definitely an affair because he's still alive.
Yeah.
I do think that she has every right to go find some like companionship and comfort and so on and so forth. And I think it happens a lot when people are dealing with like traumatic events, specifically the best friend and a spouse. I've seen it in tons of books, but I've also seen it play out in real life a
Oh,
couple
okay.
times where a spouse has died, the best friend and the living spouse are each other's comforts because they're grieving the
Right.
hardest or grieving in a similar way. They know each other best. They are looking for someone to like talk about their pain and hurt and whatever. And they kind of for lack of a better term, trauma bond over it. And that's where the relationship builds from. So I think that piece of it is 100% realistic in terms of, no one else is really going to understand the loss that you're feeling quite like someone who loves them in a similar way. However, he's still alive. And to your point, he may be fully aware that it's happening. Like she may have told him, they may have gone to him. We don't see that. So I'm kind of like compartmentalizing that piece. Like it could have happened, but we don't know that it did happen. So I'm going to assume it didn't, that she's just kind of like finding comfort in his arms. He's finding comfort in her arms, and no one else is the wiser. I think where we differ on our answer, Marianne, is the kid's reaction to it. Because it feels like in the way that Wilder talks about it, that the dad's best friend has probably also been part of their life.
Oh, sure.
So expect Micah in particular, it feels like he's viewing it as a double betrayal. That dad still needs both of you, and you're hooking up on the side.
But he still has both of them. I mean, they're not dropping him in a nursing home and going on their lives.
They're secretively like fucking around at the guy's house though.
Yeah.
And he catches on.
Okay.
I feel like in his mind that for him, at least the way that Wilder kind of explains it, it felt to me like Micah felt that as a double betrayal. That like, dad needs you. You're doing this thing over here. You didn't even tell us. Because they're not babies. They're not little kids. They're old enough to understand the score.
They should say something about it.
If you're going to be out on the front porch kissing where everyone can see you, like if they weren't being overly secretive, like they were, other people could see, that's putting your kids in like a hell of an awkward situation because, what if a neighbor saw and then the neighbor was like, I saw so-and-so kissing so-and-so, and suddenly the rumor mill's running and everybody's talking about like there's all sorts of ramifications involved. And the kids are grieving their dad. Like the kids are still grieving, like he's dying. Yeah. They know it.
But he's been in that state for a while. It's not like right after it happened from what I remember.
The grief doesn't stop.
Oh, I understand
that's
that.
a slow death. Like they're also trying, and by all accounts, it seems like no one has gotten any kind of therapeutic help.
I still feel like
they seem to be like working through it on their own. And this probably felt like, and again, just the way that Wilder describes it, it's a slap in the face.
Yeah, I don't see it as that. I feel like I would be, as an adult, I mean, if I was like a teenager, that might be one thing, or if I was, but as an adult, I feel like I would be happy that my parent had someone to comfort them.
I think who knows, the lie more than the act that it's upsetting. At least that's how I read it. That they were upset that they'd been lied to.
Maybe.
More than that she had done the thing. Right. And again, I think the mom and the best friend totally justified in like coming together. Like I don't necessarily have a problem with like that part happening, but I do fully understand like Micah in particular is the one that like caught him. Yeah. Just feeling like totally betrayed by it.
Well, and if he's the younger brother, right? Is Wilder older?
I don't know. I can't remember.
I think he would have been even younger and have probably struggled more, especially if Wilder's already out of the house and he's still living at home.
Yeah.
But was he?
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
I don't know. I felt like it's same thing. Then same like it's like the whole communication thing. Then talk to your mom. See. That's the part I think was overblown. Talk to your mom. What the hell are you doing? Why are you doing this? Yep. Then they could have had the conversation. Well, your dad knows, or your dad and whatever guy said, once upon a time that, but that's why I feel like it was just overblown. Not that it wouldn't still be traumatic, but I felt like it was overblown to the point of causing someone to die by suicide. But that's just, but then I think Mike has also got some other issues, especially with him. Yeah. But
like it seems like he has some other mental health issues that sometimes stuff like this that maybe doesn't seem as big to someone else, like just compounds in your brain when you already are like depressed or.
But it just ties into the whole, sometimes you're frustrated with the lack of communication. Like talk to your mom. What the hell are you doing, Mom? That's Dad's best friend. Oh, well, I needed some comfort. And maybe if they'd had a conversation, it could have worked out a lot better.
I feel like in a million different scenarios, I'm always like, therapy would help so much. Like, so much therapy would help. And then you realize that these people are going to therapy and it's the weirdest, creepiest sex camp therapy. Known to man. So I'm
Like, I didn't need
gonna,
that therapy.
as a caveat, I'm gonna say really good professional therapy
Yeah,
can be
yeah.
immensely helpful for working through traumatic issues.
What was the thought? I just had a thought and it went completely away. It was a good one too. Oh, shit. Yeah, I guess I just was to say it's like, do you remember the TV show? You guys are probably too young for it, like Three's Company.
I love
About
Three's Company.
okay.
Yep.
And it was all about communication. You know,
Yes.
it's like, oh, if somebody didn't miscommunicate, there would have been no plot.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like sometimes I just get so frustrated with like the miscommunication in books. So, like if
Yep.
you just would have a conversation.
If it goes
Yeah.
on too long, it drives me
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
And this one started to at the end because I remember there was one point where she was like, will we still have this relationship? Will it still be like this when we're out of this
Yeah.
fantasy world? And I want to be like, oh, for the love of God, yes, he's telling you you will. Like,
Right.
Now,
oh, so, she just kept
well,
thinking about it, and I was like, okay, like,
but Wilder, okay, and that's comes to another point. Like Wilder, for as impulsive and as in the moment as he is, like sometimes some of him he kind of drove me crazy sometimes with some of his reassurances to her, like
Mhm.
I see you and I under you know I don't just felt like he was a little too in some of his reassurances to her. He was like a little too it didn't seem
Performative.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a really good word. You know, where he was like saying what he knew he was supposed to say, but
Mm.
it didn't seem like him. It seemed really out of
yeah,
character.
yeah,
Yeah. And I think
Towards it,
I put that down as one of the points, but I put it under like Wilder feeling like he has to take care of Micah.
right.
It struck me that both Wilder and Scottie are operating from a place of fear where Wilder tends to go for the like, what do I need to say? What do I need to do? Let's do this, let's do that, versus Scottie being like slightly more reserved. But I think
Mhm.
that falls kind of under the same idea. In his mind, he's afraid of fucking it up
Mhm.
and potentially losing Scottie. So what do I need to say to make her stay?
Yes.
Or what do I need to do to make her
Yeah.
stay? What do I think she needs to hear? Instead of being like 100% honest. Like there's an element of like fear reaction and thinking through what I'm going to say instead of just saying it.
Yes.
That does come across as performative.
Yes. And it didn't seem like something he really would say. Like it just seemed
Yeah.
very, very contrived again. That's another good
Yeah.
word.
Yeah.
You know, that I see you, I feel you, I understand, like all those like the things you're supposed to say rather than just coming straight from the heart,
Yeah.
you know. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
that was one thing I didn't like towards the end of the book.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I thought this book was hilarious.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
These
Yeah.
are
You
like,
know,
I feel like nitpicky things.
Yeah, we're getting like a little
yes.
bit picky.
Mm,
But also,
yeah.
and I think some of them are issues that are like a little bit indicative of the genre.
yes,
Like
Yeah.
there
That's
has
part
to
of-
be a third act breakup or miscommunication. What is it gonna be? So it's gonna be that like so I think
Yeah.
and I think she handled it really well. Like I think the way it went down
And the third
worked
act
and made
breakup
sense.
usually is miscommunication. It's
Right.
usually a conversation. I just hate it when they drag it out too long. And,
Yeah.
and she did not, I feel like, drag it out too long.
No.
But I hate
And we've
I
had
th-
this every rom-com we've read. I think we've had the
Yes.
same like conversation
Mhm.
about like
I kind
Wow.
of like the way that Scottie dealt with the third act breakup. That she just said, "Yeah, you're right. We were lying, and I'm out of here." And
Mhm,
Right.
mhm.
she didn't try to cover it up, and she took control. She took
Yeah.
control
Yes.
there, and
yeah,
I think that was really strong of her. That she
Mhm.
really gained a lot from that. That she was able to look out for her own needs instead
Yep.
of worrying about trying to please everybody else.
Yeah.
So I
And
actually kind of liked the
yeah.
way the breakup worked.
I also liked that everyone else around her appreciated it.
Mhm.
Like, because the buildup had been that these people are actually kind of horrible people. And then the more you kind of dig in, you're like,
Yeah.
everyone's got their own shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And everyone thinks you're playing them. Like, everyone kind of saw through Wilder and Scottie a little bit, even if
Right.
they weren't 100% sure
Yeah.
what the lie was. They knew something wasn't genuine.
Right.
They
right.
had that. I think one of the Chads was like convinced that they were just gaming the system. Like
Right.
you are married, but you really aren't having a hard time. You just want
Yeah.
to get all the extra perks.
Yeah.
and attention. But the way that everyone just kind of went, everyone's messed up somehow.
Right.
Like,
Mhm.
we all do kind of put on this happy front at work because that's
Yeah.
what's expected. But there is other things going on behind the scenes.
Mhm.
And I think once she kind of admitted to the lie of like, I felt like I had to lie in order to fit
Right.
into this culture you've created. I
Yeah.
think it did allow everyone else to step
Mhm.
back and be like, ooh, maybe we shouldn't have been that way.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah. That.
appreciated that.
Yes. I thought that, and I thought then that the way that Wilder, the Wild when they got back to the city and Wilder like wooed her,
Yeah.
I thought that was perfect ending. I thought it was,
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
love that part. Um,
For sure.
which one of was it a Brad or a Chad who is having fertility issues?
It was the Chad, like the
And
main Chad.
the Chad.
Big
I
Chad.
and I thought he was going to end up being a lot more ugly, but he
Me
was.
too.
Yeah, I
I
thought he was
put
going to really
If we wanna
turn
jump to
on her.
quotes, I
Yeah.
put
Yeah.
I put the thing, that he said in quotes. I highlighted a lot of the conversation because at a certain point, I can't remember where exactly it happened, it's towards the end of camp, but Scottie is, like, having a full breakdown, and she actually thinks it's Wilder coming out to
Yep.
talk to her, and
Yep.
it ends up being Chad, like, the one she hates the most, the guy that has been on her case. And she just breaks down and, like, admits everything to him, and I was like, as I was reading, I was like, "No, no, no, don't, like, he's gonna use it against you, like,
Right.
don't tell him I don't trust him. He's a douchebag. Like, what are you doing?"
Right.
Like, I
Right.
really was like, oh, Scottie, you are making horrible decisions right now.
Mhm.
But he kind of opens up back to her about the infertility issues and this, that,
Yes.
or the other. And then I love the quote he says to her, well, that's hope. It's debilitating because when it doesn't work out, you have to be the one that sits in the crushed hope and figure out how to swim your way out.
Yeah, I mean, who would
And I
think
Mhm.
was like,
Chad?
damn, Chad.
Right.
Like,
Mhm.
look at you
And
being a
then
genuine human.
Yeah, really.
when she goes back to work, they end up being friends, and they go out to lunch and,
Yeah.
and of
Like,
course then
yeah.
the
It's like she
infertility, of course.
understands him a little better, like,
Yeah.
after his
Yes.
own, marriage counseling or whatever,
Yeah.
and
Yes, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
that's a good outcome of the camp, but most of the other, like,
yeah.
being there with your coworkers.
Well, and it's
yeah.
better
So weird.
when she stops working there, and then they're
Yeah.
just kind of
Then they're
friends,
just
and then
friends.
Yes,
they go to the
yes.
marriage camp in the
And it
epilogue
becomes
just
like
because it's just the
yeah,
thing that they do
yeah.
because
I
it
think
works,
I
yeah.
put in the quotes like some of the other, like my favorite therapy outtakes from their sessions with Sanders. The buffalo or the pad with buffalo wings. That
Yes.
whole section killed me because that has happened to someone
Oh
before.
my
Oh,
gosh,
yeah.
Where you
yes.
send your spouse,
100%.
like, not just her ex-spouse, Matt, but out in the
Yeah.
real world. She's screaming at him that, like, "I sent you to the store for pads with wings, and you came back with
Yeah.
buffalo wings," is hilarious.
Hilarious. Yep.
And then you
Yep.
find out that's something, like, her ex actually did. And then I went back and read the section, like, 3 times, and I still don't even know what the argument is about, but I think that's what makes it funny when she's just screaming baloney at him
Oh,
Yeah.
in the therapy session, and she's like, "Baloney," and he's like, "You strumpet." She's like, "Baloney, baloney, baloney. Did you just Beetlejuice me with baloney? Like, what is this argument?" But it's so funny.
It's so off the rails that you're like,
Yes.
I know I didn't mark any of those quotes. I think I was
yeah.
reading it, like, and laughing so much that I was like, "Oh god, I
I
forgot
marked
to,
some
like."
quotes, but I didn't get a chance to add them to the.
The ones I marked, well, I had the
Yeah.
sausage one, but then my other
So funny.
this has nothing to do with anything, but I know the difference between Coke, Diet Coke, Coke Zero, and the pure shit that is Pepsi.
That was his, like, special talent.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
like,
well, that was his app.
I was
That was his
like,
app.
that is so,
That's
like,
his little
yes.
special interest. Do you
Just
know
that
how,
funny
like,
little,
I
yeah.
would use that app so hard.
Agreed.
Like, I know in my
100%.
neighborhood, the best places to get
Yep.
fountain soda.
Yep.
Like, if I'm going to fucking Jersey Mike's, I'm not getting a soda there. Their soda's always flat. I'm gonna stop at the McDonald's on my way back home and
And get
pick
a
up a
Coke.
fountain drink from there. Like that. And if you live in a big city where there's lots and lots of choices, what a great app. I was
Yes,
like, so
right?
smart.
I
I just found a quote that I highlighted. It was in one of the therapy session with the bologna.
Yeah.
No, with the buffalo wings, rather.
Yeah.
Okay. And she says, about how am I supposed to know about talking about their period? How am I supposed to know that about that when you don't even talk to me about your period? I don't know what you've got going on down there, and it's not from a lack of effort on my end. I've asked to help. And she says, "You asked to insert my tampon." I deadpan. He throws up his hands in the air. I was curious. It was for science.
Well, and again, totally realistic because there
Oh
was
my
that
God,
trend on
so-
TikTok for a little while where all the girls were teaching their boyfriends about tampons. Have you seen
Oh my
these
God.
videos?
I didn't see those though.
You use a like a 2-liter soda bottle, or like the ones
And
that have
show
like
them how to, yeah.
So you put
I
the
have seen
tampon in the
those,
top
yeah.
of the soda bottle and show them how the applicator works, and when it drops into the whatever liquid is in there, it immediately is like wow. And the boys
Oh
are
my
like,
gosh.
"Oh, what?" Huh? Like horrified because they have no idea how it works. But it is for
Yeah.
science. Like when I read that
It is,
part, I was
yeah.
like, "Oh, homeboy would have been
Yeah.
all over those TikTok videos
Oh my
of like the
gosh.
boyfriends being horrified at how a tampon works." 100%.
Oh, that was funny.
Yeah. I also like another quote I put in there and I can't even remember where it went in the conversation, but she goes, "Yeah, well, less pantsing, please, more plotting."
Yeah.
And I was like, that is such an author line because
Yes.
it fit in the conversation in terms of like, stop fucking taking your pants off. We need to get a plan
We
going
need to have
here.
a plan.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you're a writer or like a reader, you know the difference between like outlining and starting a book. And
Yes,
are you a
yes.
pantser or are you a plotter?
Yeah.
And I was like, that's such a like little niche, like Easter egg
Yeah,
kind of thing.
That's so funny.
I thought that was cute. And then I highlight this one is very location specific and probably meant absolutely nothing to you guys. But when they were talking about the names that Chad gave their son, and they were going to name him after one of the Finger Lakes. One of you might nail it on the first try if you've heard it, but the first name that's on there, I don't know. How would you pronounce it?
Schenectady.
Nope.
Schenectady.
Not
No?
even close.
That
That is Skinny Atlas.
Skinny Atlas. Okay.
So, and I love that she included that one because I know everyone who did not grow up in the Finger Lakes area like I did looks at that and reads it totally wrong. So that's Skinny Atlas, Cayuga, and Owasco don't have a good ring to them. You could also have tossed in Cayuga, Canandaigua. There's like 11 lakes in
See,
there.
I read it as Schenectady's because one of my very good college friends is from Schenectady,
Schenectady. Yep.
New York.
Which is another one
Not
that people
far
mispronounce.
from, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Just-
the only reason I knew it because he was like, I'm from, upstate New York, Schenectady.
Schenectady, which is way farther south than where these are.
Right, I know.
Yeah, like that is barely upstate. If you're a central New Yorker, you're like,
Right.
kind of. But these are my hometown lakes.
I just wanna
That
know-
one little line
Excuse
really
me,
sent me.
Yeah.
Drop it.
Uh-oh.
Oswald has made an appearance.
Mhm.
And then the other quotes I put in there were much more sentimental and like sweet.
Yeah.
Like her first reaction, or not first reaction, but when she's thinking about Wilder and like why she's so captivated with him, besides the lip ring, was it's the simple things that are making him happy, and I find that fascinating.
Yep.
And I think if you are a millionaire, you can be fascinated with the simple things. You can appreciate the simple things more
Yep.
when you're not, working day to day
You're
and
not
trying
working to pay things, and he
pay
volunteers, doesn't he? Doesn't he? His work is literally like
I
volunteering.
definitely like that about him. I like the fact that he was bored as retired. I don't blame him. And so he tries to fill his time and he does it in a purposeful way for the most part. So I really like
he's
that.
volunteering at charities.
Yes.
Yeah. I was like, okay. So he's a little bit stuck because he thinks he can't lose Micah, but he's not wasting his time.
Yeah.
Whiling away the hours.
He just doesn't travel. Like he just stays in the area.
He just
because
stays
wants to
there.
keep an eye, but he keeps himself busy.
And I love when they feel like it's safe to travel the places that they go to.
I know.
Yeah.
I wrote that down. We get to places.
Two of my favorites.
The other quote I put in there was, "This isn't a story about me falling in love with another human. It's a story about me falling in love with myself."
Yes.
I thought that was a nice umbrella for the entire book. Like so much shenanigans, so much chaos. Everybody's a disaster, but at the end of the day, she figures her shit out.
And the
that's
bottom,
what, like,
yeah,
when
it's
she
the
leave
healing. She needs the
when she
healing.
leaves the camp, it's like that's when she took control for the first
Yeah.
time in a long time.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
really, if you think about it, Wilder was kind of like not he was like in the lead because he was
Yeah.
the improv king, and he's the
Yeah.
one that she's having to respond bounce off of him, and that's the first time like she really found her own voice and
Yeah.
realized that she could do it too.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
kind of like forced the issue. Like his
Yes.
personality forced her to like
Mhm.
do the thing. Like you got
Yes.
yourself into this
Yep.
situation. Now you got
Yep.
to ride it out.
Yes.
My
Yeah.
last quote I had comes from Wilder, of course, after they leave the camp and
Yeah.
before he just runs back to Scottie, which by the name, I love that he calls her Pips.
But I
Yes.
For
love that.
Yes.
any Chicago Bulls fan.
Well,
I was a
Scottie
Scottie
Pippen,
Pippen
oh.
fan until Dennis Rodman came on the scene, and then for obvious reasons, I was like, "This
Yeah.
is my new favorite."
I
But
was
I
obsessed with the Bulls when I was in
same.
high school. Everyone's like, "Oh, you only watched them because they won the national champions." I always point out, no, no, no.
No.
The first year I started watching it was BJ Armstrong's rookie year.
Yeah.
And they did not win a championship until the next year.
Right.
So, because I like BJ Armstrong and I was huge Michael Jordan, still am. Huge
My
Michael Jordan
sister and
fan.
my dad were massive Michael Jordan fans, and
Mhm.
I loved Scottie Pippen. I had my basketball shoes. I wore the Scottie Pippen
The Scottie
basketball
Pippen
shoes when I
ones?
played basketball until I got Sean Kemp's.
I didn't even play basketball, but I
Yeah.
have Michael Jordan posters in my room as a kid.
Middle school basketball, I was rocking the Scottie
Yeah,
Pippen
I was
like
like,
sneakers. But I liked that nickname came on like a total whim. Like Wilder's
Yes.
just fucking running his mouth. Like he's
Right.
making shit up. He's going. He's like, all right, this
But it's
guy likes
also-
Scottie Pippen. I'm gonna use it.
It's a
As
cute
like a-
nickname for her.
It's a perfect nickname.
I
like
love
Pips,
when
like just kind of makes you think of like a pipsqueak, like a little
Yeah.
thing, and just a term of endearment, not a
I love when characters have nicknames like that. That
Yes.
just makes them so much more real.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Yes,
also
I
like
love that.
that when there's one point where Wilder calls her that. I think I want to say it's when they're making s'mores. And he calls her Pips, and one of the Chads or Brad goes like, "Ooh, Pips, I'll have to use that at work." And they're like, "Nope, that's
Nope.
just for Wilder."
Nope.
Like,
Right.
I was like, "Oh, that's adorable," because
Yes.
it's totally
Yeah.
just like a thing that happened. Yeah.
So anyway, the quote, because that's what started
Um,
Scottie conversation. When he goes, we find out later that Wilder is continuing therapy on
Right.
his
Yeah.
own with Sanders.
But with Sanders.
And again, this is one of the things where I was like, wow, this quote is so like real. Like it's so
Yeah.
true about marriage.
Yeah.
Something we tend to forget when married, that we're tied together in all aspects. What one partner might do affects the other, whether good or bad. One move tugs on the other and vice versa. That's why when we're making our way through life, we need to be aware that our every move is tied to our loved one. We need to be conscious of that. And I was like, so it seems so simple, but also when you've been married a long time,
right.
and
It's
you
true.
kind of, and I feel like Marianne, you're already an empty nester. I'm close.
Mhm.
You're not far behind. That your marriage
December.
changes too
Yeah.
as you like your kids grow up, and you for a long time you made decisions with your kids in mind, and now I'm at the
Yes.
point where I'm making decisions for me, and I sometimes probably need to remember that it might do something in my marriage that I didn't plan on. You know what I
Right.
mean? Good or bad. Like
I also like the quote because I think it is true of all relationships.
mhm.
Like, to go back to the debate we were having earlier about the affair, that the same kind of thing. Decisions you're making are going to impact your kids, or
Yeah,
decisions
right.
that Micah makes impacts
Yep.
Wilder. Wilder doesn't realize that the decision that he's made to like stay in New York and stay close to Micah is impacting
Mhm.
Micah.
Yeah.
Right.
So like
Yeah.
everyone is kind of like working in
Yeah,
this
it's not
very
just-
insular fashion.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Okay. That probably brings us to food.
The food.
Lots of good food to talk.
So much good food.
Mm-hmm.
The camp had so many, like every meal they mentioned. They didn't like dig
I know.
super into it. And I was like, ooh, that's good camp food. Ooh, that's good camp food.
Yeah.
The baked potato part cracked me up because Wilder was so excited about this baked potato. And Scottie was like, it was a little dry. But I think that was so like their personalities, where
Yeah,
Scottie is like, yes, baked potato. Wilder's like, yes, baked potato. And Scottie's like, could have been better.
Could have
I
been
was like, oh,
is an
that's
okay baked potato. Yeah.
so exactly who these people are.
To Google the ice cream place right away to see if it was real
It's
because
I
real.
love
It's
that.
real
I love
and it's
that.
spectacular.
yeah, this sounds it. Well, I
It's
told you the Ben and Jerry's factory was on my bucket list. So,
yeah.
and I went to the Hudson River Valley for the first time as an adult last summer, and I loved it up there. So I definitely want to
I'll
go
tell
up
you,
to
you can find a Stewart's. They are everywhere.
Yeah,
They're kind of it's a gas station. So it
right.
doesn't quite it's called Stewart's Ice Cream Shop. They are gas stations.
But they're gas stations.
They're gas stations. Like first and foremost, maybe they started it as an ice cream shop. They are gas stations. And then you go inside and depending on how big the Stewart's is, it'll have like a grocery shop area. It has frozen foods that you can buy. And then it
Nice.
has like very standard kind of gas station convenience store stuff. Then it has an ice cream counter. And they also do deli sandwiches.
Hmm.
And their ice cream is so good. And you can buy tubs of it and like take it with you. You should definitely find one the next time you're in
I
New York.
definitely want to go to.
Yeah. They're amazing.
And then of course nerd clusters, which I'm with you. I almost bought a bag of Nerds clusters yesterday because I was like, I
Yeah.
just crave them. They're
I
so
buy
good.
them all the time.
It's funny is that I never ever liked candy that wasn't chocolate, but I've eaten some like Nerds, like I buy for my students sometimes, or and they're pretty good. But I've never tried a Nerds cluster. What's in the middle of the cluster?
It's like
a gummy.
yeah, a gummy, but
okay.
with nerds around it. So it's like you get
They're
the
pretty
crunch,
awesome.
but also the chewy and
Oh, okay. Okay.
They are second on my Nerds ranking. The Nerds rope is my favorite.
Hmm.
but that's
The
also
Nerds rope
kind of
It's exactly
like a
the same as a
cluster.
Nerds
It's just-
cluster.
yeah.
It's just in a rope.
it's just a rope.
Something about the rope works for me. I like that. And then the
That's
prickly pear.
I was saying I wrote down the drink. I was
Me
like the
too.
prickly pear. I was
So
like that
good.
legit sounds good, and I love
Yeah.
the play on words.
Yeah.
That it's P-A-I-R, and they come up with it because it's like, well, we're fighting.
Yeah.
Tequila, prickly pear, triple sec, lime juice, sweet and sour, and crushed strawberries.
Have you ever had a prickly
I
pear
was like,
margarita?
No, but it sounds
so
amazing.
good. It's
Yeah.
so good. There is a Mexican place whose name I'm not going to remember off the top of my head in Golden, Colorado. I've eaten there like 3 times every time I go to Golden. That has a or had at least. It's been a year or so. A prickly pear margarita that is like top notch. It's so good.
Then you
Sounds
add
good.
you
Love it.
add a little crushed strawberries to it too. I was like, ooh, that sounds.
Delicious.
I love a fruity margarita. Like watermelon
too.
margaritas are like my favorite.
I'll
love
take a
watermelon.
normal margarita, like your classic
Yeah.
standard. But if you're gonna offer me, like, I had a blackberry margarita one time.
Oh,
That
like
sounds
yes, blackberry
good.
margaritas
mango
are so good.
margarita.
I've had mango. Yeah.
There's a place in Syracuse that I don't know if it's still open, but they used to make it's called Good Buddies. They used to do milkshake margaritas. So it's a margarita but with ice cream and made
Oh
into a
my
milkshake.
gosh.
But they had a mango milkshake margarita that I was obsessed with.
Hmm.
Like it was so I started making them at home during COVID. I was like, it's my go-to drink. So good.
My mom used to buy. She kind of stopped because we don't drink them as much anymore. But the Jose Cuervo like pre-mixed flavored
Yeah.
margaritas you just buy. She would just stock the fridge. And so when my sister and I, when the kids were little, we go to their
Yeah.
house, and they live on that lake. We're floating out there, and it's like you just keep refilling
Some
your drink.
margarita.
Like it's so easy because you don't have to make anything. They're all pre-made. So you put a little, and I prefer mine over ice. So you
Yeah.
just get a thing of ice. And
Yep.
I've had way too many before where I've been like floating in the lake all day.
Yeah.
And then I get out and I'm like, whoa,
Whoa.
I cannot walk. I have had way
You gotta-
too many.
On a hot day, try a milkshake margarita. All you do is just toss
Oh,
vanilla ice cream in there. It's
that
not
sounds
like anything
delicious.
crazy.
That
but it's
sounds
so
delicious,
good.
though.
So tasty. All right.
So
About
fun.
those places.
Oh, yes.
New York City.
Love New York
Obviously,
City.
yeah.
Obviously, New York City's great. The Catskills.
Mhm.
I did love that once Wilder was feeling like he could leave New York City, that they went and traveled, obviously, to Ireland and
Yes.
Scotland.
Yes. Of course, the
Which
two
we
places.
always love.
Ireland and,
Yeah.
and now they're planning
Yeah.
Scotland. And I was like,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
Good
I saw a
first choice.
video on TikTok or Instagram the other day. It must have been Instagram of someone. I follow all sorts of like camping
Uh-huh.
accounts where they're like, the video was like you, me, and this view in the morning, and the guy like unzips his tent and it's above the clouds and the mountaintops, and I was like, where is this? How do I get there? And it was the Scottish
Yeah.
Highlands, and I was like,
Oh, yeah.
like
Yes,
okay,
please.
Like, yeah, I would like to do that. I'll live vicariously through Scottie and Wilder for now. All right. That brings us to our final thoughts. I
Yeah.
feel like we were all over the place again with this
Yeah.
discussion because there
Not
was
too bad.
so much happening. No, we like
We
very
just
efficient
talked in
today.
depth about a lot of things.
So final
Uh,
thoughts, Marianne.
okay. So first of all, before I go any further, I don't know if you saw the video I posted the other day, but apparently Meghan Quinn's mom died of cancer like a month ago.
I did
Mhm.
see that.
I saw that. I saw
And
you post that, yeah.
yeah, and she said something in her video about how her mom loved her book. So I'm thinking, you let your mother read this?
Yeah. Mom was probably awesome. Mom was like, you know what?
But
Mhm.
Stick that thing in a shower.
Yep, she probably was.
sometimes Caitlin will download books on my Kindle account and she's like, you're
Oh,
not
God.
allowed to read that.
Right. I told you I share a Kindle account with Ryan, and I
Oh,
download
yeah.
every monster romance.
But anyhow, going back to my final thoughts, I hated it. Like I loved it. It was hilarious. The part I hated was just the ick of the all your coworkers being
Yeah.
there, and the whole conflict of interest with not only your boss sending you to her husband as a marriage counselor, but then also profiting off of it. But it was weird and it was uncomfortable, and it's like it was kind of tongue in cheek that you knew Megan
Yeah.
Quinn didn't think this was okay.
Right,
It's
Yeah.
not like
right.
she's advocating for your boss to also be the wife of your marriage
Yeah,
counselor.
yeah.
It didn't stop me from enjoying the story. I would read more Megan Quinn. I've read one before that I had as an arc a few years ago. It was, I think, about a runaway bridesmaid. I don't remember a whole lot about it, but so I would definitely read her books again
Mhm.
because they're hilarious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, how about you, Sarah?
Loved it. Like I said, it was the first Meghan Quinn I've ever read too. I've seen her books everywhere. She's got a couple good holiday ones,
Yeah.
looks
Yes.
like.
I
So
was
I'm like,
looking
we'll
at like
save
her whole
those for
catalog.
November, December. I felt like
She
the
got
whole
a Valentine's Day one
I
too.
know, yes. She's gonna hit us with every holiday.
Yeah.
I thought the whole camp and the weirdness of it, I felt like was more tongue in cheek. Like
Yeah, oh, yeah.
she
Mhm.
knew how crazy it was, and that was part of what made it
Right.
so crazy. But
Yeah.
like it's so unrealistic that it was funny. I didn't really feel uncomfortable about it reading it, just more like the coincidence of like, dude, what kind of place are you working at?
Yeah.
Plus, I feel like we work in schools, so we definitely don't have things like that. But there are other places that just may do things like that.
Just
And
Right.
might.
it's really
Right.
weird. I'm like, weird schools, we definitely cannot do that. So,
Yeah.
Kit, how about you?
I loved this one. The camp was so weird. The office culture was so weird. But I think all of that weirdness made the plot line of the fake marriage work. Like that's
Mhm.
what kind of drove everything. If it was more of a normal office, then like there'd be no necessity for any of the
Right.
like
Right.
nonsense. But I had two things that I didn't bring up earlier that like are things I still wonder. My final thoughts, I still have questions. One, they were the only reason Scottie agreed to do the therapy thing was that Sanders would not be able to tell Ellison anything because of professional.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
not certified. He could tell her fucking anything. Like,
Yeah.
so no like doctor client privilege or whatever you want to call it
Yeah.
there. And then secondly, very loosely referenced in the camp, there are other patrons that are not
That are not. Yeah,
employees
yeah,
at the
yeah.
building.
Yep.
I want so badly to know
Oh,
what
what are
these
their
other
stories?
couples are
Yeah.
looking at this group that clearly all came together from Putter Butter or whatever the hell it's called. Like, are they going back to their cabin at night and like debriefing? Like, all right, did you see how Chad talked to Wilder? Did you see
Yeah.
Wilder throw the dildo at Chad at the campfire?
Right.
Did you like? Are they debriefing like in a very
The
course
same
they
way,
are.
like, yeah.
Because they're like the outside looking in. Like,
Oh,
did they
yeah.
sign up for this camp thinking it was going to be a very good like relationship camp, and instead like got
By a real instructor?
My
right,
gosh.
A real
instead got
therapist?
dropped into like this weird office culture where like Ellison is like ripping off she had the breakaway pants
Mhm.
at one point. Like,
Oh, I know.
I want to
yeah.
know. I want like a short Megan Quinn. If you are listening, I want a short novella about just one of these other couples who are totally
Yeah.
normal and not part
Serious.
of Putter Butter.
Yeah.
And just like
And when
their
do they
reaction
come
to
back?
everything that's are they like or do they go home and they're making TikToks and Instagram videos
Right,
like let me tell you
right.
about Camp Haven.
Yeah.
Like that was wild.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
But yeah, but otherwise, I mean, I loved this book. I want to read so many more Megan Quinn books.
Mhm.
It's one of those where like I can't believe I
Same.
haven't. Like
Yeah,
when
yeah.
looking through her catalog, I was like, these books are exactly the kind of stuff
Exactly
I like to read.
the type of romance that I normally read, so how come
Right.
I
Like
haven't read it before?
how is
Yeah,
this a gap in
yeah,
my bookshelf? So I'm
yeah.
excited to read more.
Mhm. Same for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
All right, well, it is time now to reveal our book for July. Here's a few clues. This story follows two people whose lives are constantly in the public eye, where every handshake, smile, and awkward interaction can become international news.
What starts as a carefully orchestrated PR stunt between longtime rivals slowly turns into something far more complicated and far more real.
And sometimes the biggest political crisis isn't the cake that gets destroyed. It's what happens after the photo op. I feel like this is an oldie but a goodie. This book's been out for a while, so you probably can guess it from those clues. But
Mhm.
our July book is Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. And we'll probably talk about the movie too.
Yes,
I haven't
definitely. The
seen the
movie was
movie, and
super
I
cute.
can't believe I read the book, but yes,
You
I'm
haven't
waiting.
seen the
I'm
movie?
gonna wait until I read it, and then I'll watch it.
It's
Yeah,
so good.
it's
Everyone
so
says that.
cute. I
And
like the movie better than the book because I
I
guess
like
Really?
both.
Okay.
Yeah. The movie is I was so worried when the movie came out because I
Okay.
did love the book and I was like, what if they ruin it? They
yeah,
didn't. It's
They
so
yeah.
didn't.
good.
Okay, good. Good.
And the
Well,
guy that plays the prince there, Henry,
Mhm.
is now He-Man. So good for him for becoming
Oh,
He-Man.
yeah. Okay. Okay. Yep.
I guess for me, I was struggling when I was reading the book to suspend my disbelief that the son of the president could just sneak out of the White House all the time and go party all the time and not have Secret Service trailing them. But in the movie, I thought it was really well done and
Yeah.
really cute.
Yeah,
Okay,
good.
so
So excited.
yeah, that's it for now. Thank you to everyone for joining us as we talked about "Till Summer Do Us Part" by Meghan Quinn.
If you enjoyed this episode, please head to our profile, check out the other books we have featured so far, including books like These Summer Storms, The Best Dog in the World, The Story Collector, and so many more. And if you're looking for book recommendations each month, we share what books we've read across every genre.
Speaking of book recommendations, are you ready to dive in Till Summer Do Us Part by Meghan Quinn? Or are you just suddenly considering inventing an entire fake marriage just to survive on awkward vacation? I mean, I feel like it might be fun to just like, why not? Why not have a fake marriage? But, anyways, you're in luck because you can grab Till Summer Do Us Part along with all of our previous featured reads and plenty of upcoming picks over on our bookshop.org storefront. And bonus, every purchase supports independent bookstores, which we love almost as much as we love fake marriages and creepy camps. We don't love creepy camps. We just like reading about them.
Mhm.
And books that make us whisper, oh, you know what? This is kind of deeply unhealthy, but
Still
so much fun to
works.
read about.
Yes.
The link to our shop is bookshop.org/shop/RETR-book club, or you can head right to our website. Our link is in all of our bios and click right in. So shop smart, shop indie, and read recklessly.
And we've got something new, our RETR Substack, where we keep the conversation going with behind the scenes thoughts, bonus content, and all the things we didn't quite fit into the episodes. Don't forget to follow along, subscribe to the podcast, and leave us a review. We genuinely want to know what you think. And yes, we will absolutely read it.
And if you know of a book that you want us to read or feature, let us know. We do actually love just making our TBRs ridiculously big. Love a good book rec.
Yep. So until next time, keep reading.
Keep exploring.
And don't forget to pack the nerds clusters.
And
And
a
other
Coke.
snacks. And a Coke. A Coke and some nerds clusters. The good Coke.